Welcome to another episode of Viatorian Voices, where our conversations on the way give witness to the ministry and spirituality of walking with youth and those who go underserved, as we strive to do everything well so that through us Jesus may be adored and loved. In this episode, we talk with associates Cheryl Schwarz and Juliann Dwyer. Both women work on staff at St. Thomas More Catholic Community in Henderson, Nevada. Cheryl as Director of Outreach Ministry and the Parish Gift Shop, and Juliann as Ministry Support Staff. St. Thomas More started to come together in 1983 as the population surged in Henderson, and was founded by Viatorians at the invitation of the then Diocese of Reno, Las Vegas in 1986. Viatorians led the parish for decades, including the construction of the community center and church, before transferring administration in 2019 to what is now the Archdiocese of Las Vegas. Several Viatorian associates continue on staff as volunteers and as parishioners, and new vocations to association are still emerging from this Viatorian-founded community. I wanted to talk with Cheryl and Juliann about their continued ministry, their living out the Charism, and the hope they see in its continued vitality, even after professed men from the Viatorians are no longer in leadership. I'm your host, Associate Dan Masterton. After you listen, help us tell the Viatorian story by rating our podcast in your favorite app, sending this episode link to a friend, and praying for and encouraging young men considering Viatorian religious life. To begin, I asked these women how these first few years since the transfer have gone for them. Enjoy the conversation.
In my experience, I've been around the Viatorians since, 37 years, 38 years ago when my husband and I started going to Viator. And then we were getting married and went through it with Father Dan Nolan, our wedding prep. And so I've known the Viatorians have been around in that way, but on staff at St. Thomas More, when it was a Viatorian parish, only just a few years before the transition happened. And I was not as affected because I felt when I became an associate, I right away went to assembly, a pre-associate. And then I continued to try to go every single year. And developing the relationship with those priests, the ones that are retired, that I only see back there, as well as all the other associates from the other regions, it means the world to me. And so when they left here, yes, I missed that having them around, but I know that I can go to Viator and I can connect with them. I know that I can go to assembly. I know that I have them on my phone. I can call them. So I guess it didn't affect me as some of my other coworkers that have been around for many years.
So for myself, I've been at St. Thomas More since 1986 and on staff since 1993. So when the Viatorians were leaving here, it was a blow to me. And I was very, very sad because working with them, I knew the type of priests that the Viatorians were and felt the connection with them. Yes, I could go to St. Viator's now, or I can go to the assembly, or I'm on the pre-associate team and that. But it's not the same as working day in and day out with a Viatorian priest, which I miss. Father Bob Bolzer, he was a lifesaver. Father Ken Morris, he was like a father to us all here. So missing all of those priestly moments when you're working and they come into your office just to sit down and talk with you. Meant a lot, and you could confide in them anything that you were feeling in that about your position here. The one thing, once they did leave, I know they were very caring about us here at St. Thomas More and how everything was going in that. But after the years have gone by, the thing I miss the most is that when Viatorians come into town, they don't come to St. Thomas More to say hello to us, and that's missed. But I can tell you that Father Mick Egan, who has retired now, he's not Superior General, that he's been really gracious about anytime I call him or text him, like I did this morning, can you come and do morning mass, or can you come and do a Sunday mass for us here? He's so obliging to it, which is really, really nice, and I appreciate that the most.
Yeah, and I imagine it means a lot to him too, having spent time here and invested himself in this community the same way. So since that handover to the diocese, to the Archdiocese of Las Vegas, now we're in a time where it's diocesan priests, but obviously you as associates continue. And some of the things that the parish has taken on have kind of fallen to you on staff. So I wondered if you would talk a bit about the role you play on the pastoral team and the way that the gift shop, the outreach ministry have developed in the last few years.
Gift shop, it was around for almost about 18 years before it was closed when COVID happened and liquidated, and then we brought it back to life in 2021. And the ministry I feel that it provides is amazing. There's not only people coming in to get something for a loved one who may have passed away or someone who's dealing with an illness, but they also have a prayer life and they're looking for something for a particular saint, someone that they want to have a statue, or they want to have something so they can make an altar or some type of a
sacred space.
Yes, something in their home they want to be able to put, or a cross. They want to get a cross for someone who's moved into a new home or getting married. So I love the fact that they come in and they talk and they share about what their needs are, and we try to do our best. We can't have everything. There's only to a certain point because we don't have a lot of space in there, but we do what we can to help them.
And then also this food pantry has developed over time. Even as space is limited, it's a priority of the parish with the budget and the space to maintain this.
Right, absolutely. People in this vicinity you wouldn't think would be in need, but we're all kind of going through different things in our life. There could be a job loss, there could be an illness, there could be a number of things that bring people, and some are very humble and they're afraid to ask because it's in our bulletin that they can always call. And so I do get a lot of parishioners that'll give me a ring and say, how does this work? Can I come? And absolutely, some people think they have to fill out a form, they have to qualify, they have to, have blood, test their blood or something, but it's nothing like that. It's absolutely, if you have a need and you want to come shop, you come shop. And I don't just put together, and my volunteers, we don't put together a box or a bag and say, here, take it. They get to shop like it's a grocery store.
Yes.
So they can actually pick out things they're going to use. And that is amazing to people, because if you see what prices are like in the store and they're saying, man, this is going to save me so much this week, just a box of cereal, just, a couple of cans of soup, whatever it is, it's helping on their expenses that they can put the money to something else. And so it's been amazing. I've met a lot of people that want to share, and then I get a few people that are kind of quiet. They just kind of, very meek, and they'll take a few things, and eventually they open up and they tell me what's going on. So it's been beautiful.
I love how both become an opportunity for story sharing and accompaniment, even in these little things that can become so transactional. You get to bring more personal touch to it, which is what people need in a tough time, or in a time when they're trying to be generous. I think it's great.
Absolutely.
One of the things that makes me smile when I go on the parish website is I feel like, if I remember correctly, Juliann, I think you're listed as just like ministry support or something, which I think is one of the great Catholic euphemisms I've ever seen for someone I know is very generous and talented, and maybe does so much that you can't box it into a neat little 2-word title. But how would you describe what you try to bring to the parish when you are here doing your time on the clock, so to speak?
It's excellent that you said that about it touches every ministry. So I'm there to support anyone. My main responsibility on Saturday and Sunday is sacristan at church, which I love because I love seeing the people. I love meeting with them, meeting new people, just seeing familiar faces all the time. And part of that also is the funeral ministry. I work with Lisa. Lisa's in charge of the funeral ministry, and I help her out with it. And you might say, well, why do you like funeral ministry? It's dealing with the people that are mourning and grieving and helping them get through that funeral mass. Giving them a prayer blanket that's made by our peacemakers, and giving them a cross, and seeing how grateful they are for just anything to hold on to their loved ones. I'm here for all of them. It doesn't matter if it's my day off or not. I come and I help out with it. So the other ministries that I help with is paperwork. I'm really good with paperwork. So
someone has to be.
So I do all the paperwork for adult confirmation, and I do all the paperwork for inquiry and RCIA, and I do all the interviews for both of those programs and that. So taking the intake on anybody that is joining those processes, which is interesting because you get to meet a lot of different people from a lot of different walks of life with a lot of different things that are happening in their life and their marriages and that. So that's another neat part of the process that I do. And the last thing is Grief Share. I work with the Grief Share team. We have that on Wednesdays, a 13-week program, which anybody can join at any time during those 13 weeks. And what I find remarkable about it is the people that come back for the next session, because they miss that camaraderie among other people who are grieving the same way they are. And that, so we have our 13-week program. We also have our Surviving the Holiday program, and we have Loss of a Spouse. And a lot of times you'll see the same people in each of them, but a number of times, especially this last session, there's a lot of new people that came, and especially at night, we opened up a night session, which has really helped those people who are still working.
It's great. More accompaniment. It's so much accompaniment. It's great. It's what we're called to do. Maybe as one last question, even in these 5 years since our professed men have stepped aside from leadership, you are here continuing to live out the charism and to do this ministry of accompaniment like Father Curbs has called us to do. And still, people are responding to it in new ways, and we're having people come forward as pre-associates, even in places where our men aren't in leadership. And I attribute it largely to the vitality of the work people like you two are doing. How do you feel, or what gives you hope or inspiration when you look to people like a pre-associate like Georgina Martinez, an associate like Kai? What gives you hope or inspires you when you see these young people continuing to respond and act and discern?
Well, I can speak from a couple of people, like Shelley Aguilar. She's also helps me in the pantry. She comes every Monday, and she helps to sort all the donations from the weekend, and she's amazing. She also goes and helps at a couple of other agencies during the week. She makes meals, but she's just always out there trying to do something to help others, and she's got the charism with her. She's just amazing, and I'm looking forward to her developing more, coming to an assembly this year. It will be a great experience for her. And then Juliann probably works more with
with the pre-associates. And what I love is the fact that we're getting a lot of younger people joining the association program, and that it's inspiring. And from my experience, most of them have gone through VYC. So they've had that connection to the Viatorians, understand what the Viatorians are all about, and then they come to a pre-associate, and it's great to see their input because they know so much already.
Yeah.
And they're so active in that. So I think VYC is a great stepping stone into the pre-associate program, and people wanting to be a part of being a Viatorian associate. It's special to them.
That's all for this episode of Viatorian Voices. We'd like to thank Cheryl and Juliann for their unique witness in this setting, and pray for their faithful service and fostering of deepened faith and emerging vocations. Viatorian Voices Conversations on the Way is a production of the Viatorian community. Viatorians are professed brothers and priests, together with women and men lay associates, who proclaim Jesus Christ and his gospel and raise communities where faith is lived, deepened, and celebrated. In the footsteps of Venerable Louis Curbs and under the patronage of St. Viator, we strive to do everything well so that through us Jesus may be adored and loved. This includes our presence in the Archdiocese of Las Vegas, where we have served for over 70 years. Viatorians founded and lead St. Viator Catholic Community and Parish School, and founded and lead Cristo Rey St. Viator College Prep. Additionally, we founded the Shrine of the Guardian Angels, which became the Archdiocesan Cathedral, and we founded St. Thomas More Catholic Community and Bishop Gorman High School, where Viatorian associates continue to minister and share our charism with their communities. For more information on all the places where we serve, visit Viatorians.com and explore the About Us tab. To learn more about our community, explore our website further or follow us on social media at Viatorian USA. Young adults seeking to connect with faith-filled peers can follow at ViatorianYA on the Way on Instagram, where our young adult community is building new pathways for walking together in faith. Those seeking support and accompaniment in exploring God's invitations for them are invited to reach out to Vocation Ministry. Send us a DM on social media or email us to start a conversation. Remember, you can help us tell the Viatorian story by rating our podcast in your favorite app, sending this episode link to a friend, and praying for and encouraging young men considering Viatorian religious life. On behalf of the Viatorian community, I'm Associate Dan Masterton. Venerable Louis Curbs, inspire us. St. Viator, pray for us. Adored and loved be Jesus.